Hi! Welcome back to Musicians Edition Practice with me for flute. Today, we are working in the Rubank Intermediate Method for flute or piccolo. And I'm your teacher, Reesa. And today, we are working on page 5. Okay, so we are still working with expressions, and so another great way for expressions is our sound and dynamics. So last exercise we worked on was just straightforward holding out those dynamics. Hopefully you took time to hold out those dynamics and keep them in tune. Today we're going to work on crescendoing, and remember, that's to gradually get louder. That's the first symbol we see, where it's going like this. And then we have the decrescendo or diminuendo, which is gradually get quieter, okay? So that is also a huge part in expression, okay? So let's take a look at what the book has to say. In playing a crescendo or a diminuendo, the pitch of the tone should not change. It is a common fault, especially for young players, to play flat when playing loud and sharp when playing softly. So we really need to get our tuning ears on. We need to listen very carefully. In order to play the sound's graduations or nuances correctly, it is necessary that the quality of the tone is not affected, but retain its rich and mellow fullness. Only the volume should change. Yes, so in order for us to do this, you're going to want to make sure you take time to do this on your own too. And what you're going to do is take your tuner. I normally have the tuner metronome combo, but it seems to be misplaced. No worries, you may not even have one. They also have tuners on our phones here. It's just called Flute Tuner. So that's what I'm going to use today to help us out. So I already went ahead and, made sure my flute was in tune. Okay, so it said it was good. So now we want to make sure that we pay very close attention to our volume and what it says on our tuner. We're going to look at both. So let's look at exercise 1. Okay, we're going to crescendo, and you can see that it writes it in two. So it has the crescendo mark, but it also marks which ones should be where. So our first note is going to be pianissimo, very soft. And then we're going to gradually become piano by the time we hit the note B. Then we're going to gradually get louder to mezzo piano by the time we hit D. And then mezzo forte, kind of loud by the time we hit G. Okay? On all that, we want to make sure we remain in tune for every single note. And then it's going to be the same thing going downward. Going to start mezzo forte, gradually become mezzo piano, become pianissimo. Okay, then we're going to do it again, but we're going to shift a little bit further. And that's basically what it's going to do, is it's going to shift. So our first set starts pianissimo. Second set starts on piano. Third set starts on mezzo piano. Fourth set starts on forte, but that's where it kind of changes a little bit too. Our notes are going to be different as well. All right, so first, let's just give this a try. Let's not worry about tuning for this first go around. It's just getting familiar with what's in the exercise, so the notes, and go ahead and attempt to do the dynamics. All right, but before we do that, let's take a look at our key signature. What do we have going on? We have 1 sharp, F sharp, okay? And tell me about our time signature. Common time is simple 4/4, okay? We see that we have nothing else really written in. This is all about dynamics and tuning. All right, so let's just get comfortable with this, and then we'll pull out the tuner. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. Now we're going to pay attention to our tuner to make sure everything is in tune while we change our notes, okay? Along with our dynamics. All right, ready? We're going to play nice and slow because we want to make sure we listen. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, perfect. So looking at my tuner, I can see that I have been a little bit flat on the softer side. So I actually am opposite from the young players, unless I somehow got out of tune between now and then. I'm gonna just check real quick. It says I'm right on. So that means I need to do some form of adjusting to make sure I'm in tune. So now what we're gonna do is we wanna break things down a little bit note by note. Get the feel for where we need to be. So let's take a look at G, our first note. It needs to be pianissimo and in tune. So I'm gonna first play it just comfortable, see where it lands here. Mine shows pretty well right in the middle. Perfect. Now I need to make sure it's softer. I'm getting a little flat there. So what I do, just so I can hear where it needs to be in that dynamic, is I roll in and out. And I know there's people out there who say that rolling in and out is bad, but I'm just trying to get where to hear it in that dynamic. Okay, so let's try again, because I couldn't get it. Okay, so that's where it needs to be, both dynamically and for in tune. Okay, I did a lot of things between adjusting my embouchure, rolling in and out, and adjusting airspeed a little bit. Okay, that was the only way I was able to really get it in tune. So now let's see if I could just hit it right on the dot. And you're gonna wanna try to do the same thing. There's gonna be some trial and errors to this. Perfect. Okay, now I need to make sure I can do the same thing with B. And remember, B is a little bit louder. We're at piano now. Okay, that's where I need to be. Now I'm going to do G to B. Perfect. Next we have is D, a little bit louder, a little bit louder. Perfect. Now let's do all three. Perfect. And now that G at mezzo forte. Perfect. I was right on for that one. Okay, so now let's do the whole set there. Let's do it again. Much better. So for me, that was all in tune. Also remember, these are all slurred. So make sure you take time to do that too. All right, let's see if we can do this going the opposite way now, just as the book marks it too. Okay, ready? A little bit different that way. So once again, let's break this down. Just do your G. Perfect. Now your D. Your B. Your G. There we go. Now I need to do it all. We'll do it all together. Ready? Perfect. That one's not as smooth as going up, so we'll want to make sure we take time to do that on our own. All right, let's do the next set. It's going to be starting at piano now instead of pianissimo, but the concept is still the same. All right, so let's do the next 4, beginning with piano and ending on piano, okay? And I'm not going to count us in because we're just listening and adjusting. There we go. That was better for me. Hopefully it was better for you. Okay? Now, let's try the next set, starting on mezzo piano and ending on mezzo piano. Okay? So now we're starting a little more louder. Perfect. It's getting a little better as we go along. I'm getting used to the motions and the adjustments. Hopefully you are too. All right, now let's do the next set, which is starting right on that forte and ending on that piano. Okay? And I always make sure my first note starts right in that vicinity where it's supposed to be. Make sure it starts in tune, otherwise the whole thing is off, okay? So when you're practicing, if it starts off tune, I stop, try it again, okay? So here we go. All right, that one wasn't very good for me. I don't know how you felt. Let's do it again though. Ready? Better? I hope yours was better too. Let's go ahead and finish this off. So we're going to start where it's mezzo forte on that G and N on pianissimo on that whole note G, okay? Ready? And that's not the dynamic I want to start off. So also, if you're not starting off at the right dynamic that you want, just take a moment, stop, start again. Okay? Perfect. All right, let's see if we can do this whole thing now, staying in tune. It is quite a challenge. Okay, ready? I'll kind of count us in, and we'll just adjust and go from there, okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. So since we broke it down, I don't know about you, but me personally, it got a little better each time. So make sure you take time on your own, watching the tuner, taking your time, making those adjustments, getting a real feel for it, okay? And then later we'll try to make our quiets not so airy. That's gonna be coming up later. Okay, so now let's move on. All right, so now, when a note is followed by one or more shorter notes, the shorter notes are played with 1/2 of the volume of the longer note. There are exceptions to this rule, but it is a good policy to learn and play all phrases as mentioned, since the majority of all music played in this way will be properly performed. Players interested in the fundamentals of solo playing will be greatly aided by adhering to this principle. All right, so let's take a look at exercise 2. They have it marked for us on what they want and what the foundation they're kind of talking about. So you see there that every time we have a quarter note, it's a little bit softer, right? So our half notes, fortissimo. Quarter notes, forte. Then the half note, forte. Quarter notes, mezzo forte. Okay? So let's just play this with the dynamics. It's C the whole way through, so we don't have to worry about fingerings and anything complicated there, just middle C. Okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. It's really hard to get those 3 P's. They're basically as whisper, barely want to hear, barely want to hear. All right, so that's what they're talking about, okay? So now let's make sure that we're playing these in tune with the proper dynamic, okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. The previous exercise really helped with that, just because, well, I know the adjustments I need to make. And so, once again, I know it's a little controversial on rolling in and out. That's what I was taught to do, was kind of roll in and out. So I roll out just a hair, just a little, okay? And then once again, I do a little bit of adjustments here, play around with it, okay? And the previous exercise would have helped too. Not the previous exercise, last week's exercise. Okay, let's do it one more time, okay? Because our rhythms are about to get a little more complicated. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. All right, make sure you take a little time to work on those dynamics as well. All right, let's look at number 3. Okay, so let's take a look at exercise 3 now. Same thing with the dynamics. We're starting loud. The shorter ones are a little bit quieter, and we're just working our way down. Okay, but make sure that the quarter note is the one that's louder than the 8th notes. Okay, you see how it works? It's like a stair. All right, so let's go ahead. We'll start this one with just playing the rhythms with the dynamics. We won't worry about the tuning right now. We'll do that the next go around. Take note, we are in 2/4, but we have one measure of 4/4, and then we go back to 2/4, okay? And we do have some things, a little different type of rhythms here. So we look in those last two measures there, we have the quarter, the eighth, and then the 16ths, okay? All right, let's just give this a try. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, perfect. So it's a little bit harder with those last two measures, isn't it? All right, this time we're gonna pull out our tuner and we're gonna make sure that we remain in tune for all of that, okay? All right, here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 1, 2. Perfect. Let's do it one more time, okay? Ready? 1, 2, 1, 2. Oh my God. All right, perfect. All right, let's go ahead and move on to exercise 4. Okay, using lines 2 and 3 as patterns, write in the various volumes required in the playing of the succeeding song. This will acquaint the player thoroughly with the sound graduations required in the proper performance of solos and songs. Okay, so we're going to need our pencil for this one. Now we're going to write in what our dynamics should look like, okay, using examples 2 and 3. So go ahead and take a moment to write in all those dynamics, okay? All right, so here's what I came up with for mine. Okay, so the first note is marked mezzo forte, okay? And then I kept the half note for mezzo forte again. But then for the two quarter notes, it's mezzo piano, mezzo piano. The next half note is piano. And then I kept the quarter note on piano, but then I changed the 2/8 notes to pianissimo, pianissimo, following pianissimo. And then I just wrote a crescendo in, all right, for the next two measures. So when we end on that high C, we're at forte, okay? And then the two quarter notes are mezzo forte, mezzo forte. That G is mezzo forte as well on the half note. And then the quarter note is mezzo piano. And then I have piano, piano for the 2/8 notes. And then we're gonna crescendo all the way up for that marked in forte on that G, okay? And then we're still staying at forte. I have forte marked for that high C half note. Then I have mezzo forte for the quarter note. The 2/8 notes are mezzo piano, and then that quarter note is piano, and then I have us crescendoing all the way up to that marked mezzo forte. We're gonna remain mezzo forte until the second to last measure. That first note is still mezzo forte, and then the 2/8 notes, mezzo piano, the quarter note piano, pianissimo, pianissimo, ending on pianissimo. That's what I have. So why don't we first just play this song just to get the notes and the feel for the song, and then we'll concentrate on the dynamics afterwards, okay? So no sharps, no flats, common time. But we do have the pickup note. So 1, 2, 3, play. Okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Perfect. All right. Now, let's put in our marked dynamics. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Perfect. How did that feel with the dynamics in? Great. Okay, let's take a look with our tuner now with this. So I'm going to slow this down just so we can look at the sheet music and our tuners. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Perfect. A little harder to do that. So make sure you take some time doing it kind of note by note, really paying attention to the tune. Unfortunately, we don't have time for that fine tuning, but let's go ahead and put our metronomes on for this. So this is andante. So let's do this at 80, okay? And here we go, 4. All right, ready? Here we go. And don't forget to add your dynamics in. 1, 2, 3. Excellent job. All right, so make sure you take some time to work on these dynamic exercises on your own. You have the time to really fine tune them, get your best sound, try to make them maybe a little less airy, play around a bit and see what works and what doesn't work. All right, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know down in the comments. While you're down there, don't forget to hit like, notify, and subscribe so you don't miss any of our practices. Thanks for joining, and until next time.